Display of the day from the Portuguese Air Force, the Leonardo AW101 Merlin Mark 514. Now this is a first. We've not had a Portuguese Merlin in a British flying display before, and it's the first time in a very, very long while that the Portuguese Air Force has flown in the flying programme at the RIAT. Like the NH-90 we saw earlier, this is a multi-purpose, multi-role helicopter conceived by a multinational consortium, in this case Augusta and Western, which were then separate companies. They came together in a consortium called Industries, and the intention was, once again, to meet both general utilities and shipborne requirements. And they have done so with, in this case, a 3-engine helicopter. That the Portuguese contribution to RIAT 2025 is a search and rescue roll demo. As covering an area of 6 million square kilometres, Portugal has the largest area to provide search and rescue cover for in Europe. In fact, Portugal is responsible for the second largest area worldwide, only behind Canada. Yes, they purchased the Merlin as a replacement for the Aerospatiale Puma, and that area of search and rescue coverage takes in an area from its own coastline well out into the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and that includes the major air and sea routes of North America. So it's got to be very well equipped, and with the Merlin, it certainly is. It brought many new capabilities to the Portuguese Air Force. It's the first helicopter type it's operated to have a so-called glass cockpit, which is digital as opposed to analog displays. The crew members are equipped with transition goggles for long-term missions, and there's a whole range of modern sensors on board. Crucially, it almost doubles the capacity compared with the Puma from 8 to carry the 35, and the rated traction of the Puma was 200 nautical miles. The Merlin can manage around 400 with an extra fuel tank that is installed in the cargo bay. They maintain a 24-hour alert service so that they're ready to intervene in the case of a distress call coming from anywhere inside their area of responsibility. And as Ben said, this extends well beyond the Portuguese mainland, out to the Azores and as far south as Madeira. Merlins are kept on 24-hour standby at the main base of this unit, Squadron 751 at Montijo, near Lisbon, also at Porto Santo on Madeira, and there's another unit now, Squadron 752, stationed at RIAT in the Azores. And they can fly sources up to 8 hours in duration. The longest distance flown to date was just over 360 nautical miles from the Azores to Flores, the westernmost island of the Portuguese archipelago. Search and rescue at sea is the main mission for the Merlins. From Madeira and the Azores, they primarily perform medical evacuation and transport tasks. The Azores in particular see some really challenging conditions, such as winds up to 60 to 70 knots, but that sort of weather and the high waves that it creates, big test for helicopters and their crews, but they have always passed it. This squadron has now saved in excess of 5,200 lives. As we come into the search and rescue demonstration part of the display, you can see the simulated survivor has positioned himself just on the far side of the runway and is marking his position using a smoke flare. Now, a big advantage of the search and rescue work with the Merlin is its autopilot, including what's known as the AFCS, the Automatic Flight Control System, that maintains the helicopter's speed and altitude, and it can move the helicopter down to a hovering point set by the pilot so they can hover over the scene at night with those visual references. So now we're seeing the rescue with us from this weather 751 lowered to the ground to attend a casualty. They're part of the 5 shots still operating the Merlin. The full complement, pilot in command, co-pilot, systems operator, rescue swimmer, and flight nurse. So this is the casualty now into the sector. We've got fairly benign conditions for today, but it's still not entirely benign for the rescue swimmer and the casualty because the rotor downwash from what is a large helicopter. The pilot in command can't see anything below him at this point. Everything's being described to him by the system operator, providing with a constant flow of information as to the progress of the recovery. It's that operator who instructs the pilot to move the aeroplane. Available, the RCM322 and General Electric CC7 Leonardo, which now manufactures the AW101, now only offers it with the CC7. Spiraling vertical departure and a very vertiginous dive. We're going to see them coming past for a final salute to all of you. Esquadra 751's motto is "So others may live," and that they've certainly lived up to, both with their previous equipment, the Puma, and now this, the Merlin. And this is another part of our Eyes in the Skies theme, because search and rescue helicopters very much a part of that. This year is the 80th anniversary of rotary wing search and rescue missions, and we've got really good representation of that across the static parks and the flying displays over the 3 days of RIAT. Part of the Eyes in the Skies theme is a Royal Navy Merlin HM2, which can be found in the static display representing the British service of this Anglo-Italian helicopter, which is in use with a whole range of air arms around the world and has seen a good deal of frontline activity in combat theatres, especially with multiple different countries, Iraq and Afghanistan. Final pass then from the Portuguese Air Force AW101 Merlin, Mark 514. The helicopter piloted today by Major Rodolfo Couto, and the co-pilot was Captain Jorge Tavares.
Yeah. Thank you.
Your knees look better this year, don't they? Your knees? Yeah. They look better this year.
Why?
I'm running up the stairs.
Wait till Monday.
Oh, you were hobbling.
Wait till Monday.
Really good to have the Portuguese Air Force back in the Air Tattoo flying display after such a long absence. But there's no such thing as an absence from RIAT, it seems, for the flight test centre of the Italian Air Force, the Reparto Sperimentale di Volo at Pratica di Mare.